what's up? So you guys came to find out how much our tiny house costs. Come on in. In this video, we want to answer one of our most frequently asked questions. How much did it actually cost us to build our tiny house? Stick around to the end for the grand total.
So I made a blog post about all of the ins and outs of the tiny home. That includes materials, prices, whether or not we recommend it. The link is in the description. Go check it out.
If you didn't know, only 2.7% of you guys are subscribed. So if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button to become an official JakeandKate. And while you're down there, hit the notification bell so you never miss one of our videos.
Okay, come on in and we're going to talk about how much our living room cost. This couch right here from Wayfair, you can see all the details and ins and outs of this on our other video. Cost about $500, which we actually have really enjoyed it. This carpet here is actually a carpet tile that can stick right down. We actually recently replaced this little square because our dog ate something and made a mess on the floor. And that was $100 for this area, and we still have extra left over. This Comfort Glow heater is our backup heat for when we don't need the wood stove going or we can't because we're gone. And up here we have LEDs right behind the TV. They're strapped on there as well, and that's our lighting that is Bluetooth controlled for $79 a piece. Okay, so this is just a brief overview of the house, and you will see all of the details in the blog post. So if you are wanting more information that we don't speak about right now, you'll probably find it there. This door is a Geldwin door. It actually costs $500. Go to our blog post and see if we recommend it or not. The windows here, $100 a piece. Ceiling fan to help push the heat down and it'll help circulate the air in the summer is $100. And all of this wooden flooring is actually stick tile flooring, and it was $300 total.
Okay guys, so to start off the kitchen area, I'm going to mention our mini Woodsman wood stove that we got off of Etsy. It was about $300. This thing can get up to like 600 degrees if we really need it to, so it's more than enough for a tiny house this size. And the piping and everything was about another $300. So $600-ish added to the total build cost that you'll see at the end of this video. These countertops came as one large 10-foot butcher box slab from Home Depot, $400. One of the best deals that we got on this build. The sink, $300. Sink faucet, $150. These things add up pretty quickly here. I built the cabinets myself from about $300 worth of materials from Home Depot. Pretty good price there. I think I got the hinges and whatnot off of Amazon. We'll put a link for that. There's a lot of stuff in the kitchen that we built. Obviously, for any house, the kitchen is going to be the most expensive build. Things just cost a lot. Appliances cost a lot, especially. This is a really nice custom-sized stove. It was $700, ordered online, obviously. $150 from Wayfair, $300-ish from Best Buy, actually. And this fridge has been awesome for the tiny house. It's more than enough room. So if you're considering building a tiny house, consider a smaller fridge like this to save space elsewhere. Okay, into the bathroom. This is definitely one of the cooler rooms in the house, obviously. Tile floor was about $300 of materials, including the tile and the grout. We got these washers and dryers for $600, which was an amazing blessing from God because it's normally a $1,200 set, but we ended up finding it new used on Facebook Marketplace the same day that we were going to go and buy it from Home Depot brand new for $600. Between all the appliances, the sink, the tub, everything in the kitchen, we ended up spending about $5,600 on the house. One of our biggest appliances-ish, it's kind of appliance/furniture that you don't think about when you're building a tiny house is a composting toilet, or whatever kind of toilet that you need. But if you go with a composting one, Nature's had, it's the only one I've ever tried, but we really love it. It was $1,000, guys. That's kind of crazy. But in the grand scheme of things, it's definitely worth it for a tiny house. Okay, so here's some of the general costs that we can't necessarily show you exactly what the things look like. But for instance, the lumber to build the tiny house cost us about $1,700. Thankfully, praising God, we got that lumber before the lumber price jacked up because of everything going on with the pandemic. The trailer that we bought was $400. We got that off of Facebook Marketplace. If you go and check out our tiny house building video, you can see how we actually repurposed an old camper frame a good way that saved us a lot of money, because a custom tiny house trailer, though there's a lot of pros for them, usually run about $4,000 or more depending on the size you want. With any used trailer, it's a really good idea to replace the tires while we were taking the trailer to where we were going to build the tiny house. The tires actually ended up shredding on the highway, so we pulled over to a tire warehouse and paid $600 for brand new tires, and we bought a spare right there on the spot so we wouldn't have a problem in the future.
So our siding cost about $800 and our trim ended up costing us $600.
Some of the costs that people don't often think about are like our hose, which we have to have a 150-foot heated hose to get to our water source, and our extension cord. Both together, it's about $500 of extra cost to the build. One of our main power supplies-ish, utilities to our house is gas. We use liquid propane. About $100 and something for each tank. We have 2 tanks, 100 pounds each. They last like 4 months apiece, so that's a cost you have to add. In total, the entire frame and exterior of our tiny house was about $8,300 to build. That also includes some of the final touches that we put on later on, but that's the total of everything that's outside of the tiny house.
So, one of our appliances that you obviously would need is a hot water heater. That cost us about $500, which, if you know anything about them, is a little on the cheaper end, and we definitely realize that we get what we paid for.
So our shiplap, which is our interior walls that you guys can see, that cost us about $800 in material, and then another $300 to paint that stuff. In total, all of our electrical fixtures, including our outlets, our lights, our LED lights that we mentioned earlier, cost us about $400. It was around $1,000 to pay for all of our electrical wiring, our plumbing, and our gas lines. Those are things that people just don't think about when they're building a tiny house.
So to give a realistic general price tag for the tiny house that we did, we added about $2,000 of miscellaneous just in case we missed anything, bringing our total cost to
$21,500 for our total affordable tiny house build. I would say that in the ranking of tiny house scales, that is pretty stinking affordable.
Yeah, I think that's something that people forget, is that a lot of times tiny homes is like a luxurious thing, so people don't actually try to cut costs and make it affordable for the average person, and that's something that we really aimed to do out of necessity.
Yeah, part of our reason to get into a tiny house was to not have a mortgage, so we really wanted to keep our costs a lot lower. You guys can come back to our channel in the future, and we're actually going to have a video on how we ended up paying for our tiny house, so that if you're really thinking about getting into tiny house living, then you can figure out exactly what it would take to buy a tiny house or build one for yourself and pay for that.
Don't forget to check out that blog that has detailed descriptions of all the things we mentioned and more. So if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.
And if you have any more questions about what something costs, we want to let you guys in on everything that we bought for the tiny house. So leave it down in the comments and we'll make sure to reply to you. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.